Hey guys, welcome back. Today in this video, I will be reviewing the Dunu X GizAudio DaVinci. It is a collaboration effort between Timmy and Dunu. The DaVinci features 2 dynamic drivers, 4 balance armature with a 5-way crossover. I bought the DaVinci with my own money. Everything I said in this video will be my subjective opinion only. So in the previous video, I've shown you the unboxing experience along with everything that comes inside the box, so I won't go over that again. But basically, Dunu has included a lot of accessories along with the DaVinci. Here is the closer look of the IM. So the shell of the DaVinci is on a thicker side, but it still feels very light and comfortable. The nozzle is a bit wide, around 6.3 millimeters, but because it's not too long, it doesn't affect the fitting much. The cable, on the other hand, is quite decent. It is a 4-course cable with a very secure modular connection. The one thing that I didn't like about this cable was how particularly stiff it is. So when wrapping up the cable to take some photo, I have to use the Velcro band here to secure it in place. The comfort while wearing it is fine though, as it is not too heavy. Power-wise, the DaVinci does need quite a bit of juice to sound good, because it has 35 ohms of impedance and 109 decibel per milliwatt of sensitivity. I didn't like using the E1DA dongle with the DaVinci at all, because I feel like the bass and the dynamics were affected for the worse. Using the TP50, I have to use the balance port as well as putting it in high gain. Only then the DaVinci starts to sound decently good. Switching to the chord mojo, the bass sounds tighter, more well controlled, and it just overall sounds better. Onto the sound impression, the DaVinci has a bass-boosted neutral tonality. The bass is the most standout feature of this IM. The DaVinci has great sub-bass extension. Even for a single 8mm driver, the DaVinci can push a lot of air even below 20 Hz without clipping. There is this sort of subwoofer feeling to it. So the famous drop in Why So Serious by Hans Zimmer sounds even better than I imagined. The DaVinci shows a great amount of oomph and physicality. It is rumbly, dense, and has a great sense of reverb. Same thing for Trendemoller by Chameleon, where it showcases a really good sub-bass texture. That being said, if I have to nitpick, the sub-bass is not the tightest sounding, as it can sometimes sound a little bit flabby and diffusing. But at the price of $300, I think this is the best sub-bass that I've ever heard. Going into the mid-bass, cello, double bass sounds warm and clean. The string plucking sensation is easily felt. Bass kick drum sounds stumpy, bold, but not too incisive. The attack aren't the quickest. Pairing that with the slightly slower decay, which benefits the bass acoustic instruments by giving them that natural lingering feeling, it is quite evident that the DaVinci aren't suitable for fast-paced music, like metal. For general pop or rock or instrumental, I think the DaVinci sounds great. Going into the mid-range, so since the bass doesn't bleed into the mid-range, it sounds very neutral with only a bit of warmth to it. Mid-range instruments have very smooth and natural timbre. Piano sounds quite pleasant. It sounds a bit warm, evenly spread out with a bit of creaminess to it. Violin has a lively and sweet sound to each bow strokes. Horn instrument sounds velvety, mellowy, but not too warm. Almost everything just sounds correct like it should, just hitting that correct mark regarding the overall tonal balance. So I don't have much to nitpick about it. As for the vocals, so when I'm trying to pinpoint the depth at 6K, I can't exactly find it. However, when listening to music as a whole, it is apparent that something was quite amiss, because I felt like the female vocals don't have that usual clarity and breathiness when reaching the high notes. The balance between the boosted bass and the not too boosted upper mid-range also contribute to this. So Adele's voice sounds lively, but her voice sort of blend in more with the rest of the instruments rather than standing out. The DaVinci benefited from listening to at a higher volume to seemingly push the clarity forward. Male vocals like Frank Sinatra or baritone still sound smooth and lush. The seemingly upper mid-range dip also kept the amount of sibilant to the minimum, evident by Ed Sheeran's Shivers and Bon Jovi's It's My Life as a sibilant testing tracks. As for the treble, I think it is quite good. It is well extended, smooth, and balanced. It is not too bright, not too artificially boosted, but not too dark either. Just enough. The upper treble and air region are moderately airy and sparkly. So with Caravan by John Watson, the cymbals has decent bite to them. Hi-hats sounds natural with gentle buzzing sound. The percussion instruments' definition edge are on a softer side. So since the treble is overall on a safer side, I think the resolution isn't quite the DaVinci's strong point. Soundstage-wise, the DaVinci's width is only above average, but it has quite good depth and height. This is why I felt like the Wizard SS20 is a good choice of tips for the DaVinci. The combination of wide and short bore tips has given me the best deep fit, along with a wider soundstage as it would lower the bass a little bit. The layering felt quite blurry to me, like it's not very cleanly cutted, partly affected by the bass quality. The imaging and the instrument positioning felt very correct with decent spacing. The DaVinci has better macro dynamics than micro dynamics during my tests. When watching movies on this IM, like for example the final battle of Avenger Endgame, the DaVinci has given me a very immersive and atmospheric experience. The background music, the drums, the horn instruments, the rumblings, the arrival of all the characters has given me a very enjoyable experience overall. Onto the comparison. First, I would like to compare the DaVinci with the ZiiGaat Doscinco. I would say the Doscinco is a bassier DaVinci with a bit spicier upper mid-range. Let's start with the bass. So the bass on the Doscinco is more authoritative than the DaVinci's. It has more quantity overall. However, even with a bigger bass shelf, the bass on the Doscinco felt more distinct, faster, and tighter. The kick drums don't sound as boomy as on the DaVinci's. I like both the bass on this IM. However, over a longer period of time, the DaVinci's bass does feel a bit more fatiguing due to how much vibration there is. As for the mid-range and vocals, instruments have slightly more note weight to the Doscinco. However, I felt like the warmth of them are relatively the same. Tone and timbre, however, the DaVinci's exceeded. The piano violin sounds more expressive. Horn instrument sounds more dramatic, as well as standing out more from the mix, noticeable in Hans Zimmer's tracks. Vocals on the Doscinco sounds more forward, yet less velvety than the DaVinci. So Celine Dion high notes are more emphasized and effortless than the DaVinci. Her voice with the DaVinci still sounds great, still has that full body and presence, but it felt like something was holding her back. That being said, I would still enjoy her voice more at louder volume on the DaVinci. Finally, the treble. I think they are similarly emphasized and similarly detailed. It has good shimmering and sparkle for both sets. The cymbals and hi-hats sounds edgier on the Doscinco, while the DaVinci sounds a bit airier and more flowy. Technicality-wise, I think the DaVinci simply has better soundstage and imaging, while the layering is not laser-cutted on both sets. Next up is the ISN Neo 5. The Neo 5 has a bit more bass quality than the DaVinci. Bass quality wise, I think they are on quite a similar level. Both are well tuned, both have that rich, heavy, weighty feeling to it. If I have to nitpick, the bass on the Neo 5 is a bit denser. It has the thicker and more viscous type of bass. So for cello and double bass, they sound better. However, both IEM's bass also aren't quite suitable for fast-paced music. Mid-range wise, both IEM sounds very neutral and linear without the non-aggressive peanut boost. However, the DaVinci feels a bit smoother and more natural to me. Instruments are better articulated with more natural timbre. The Neo 5's mid-range also sounds smooth with good detail. It's just that the DaVinci was a touch better than the Neo 5. Vocals are a different thing, as I felt like there is more life to the soprano or to other female vocals, high notes. So Adele and Celine Dion have higher clarity. My vocal sounds lusher on the Neo 5. However, with the Ed Sheeran's Shivers, the Neo 5 seems to be a bit more sibilant and more metallic than the DaVinci. Treble-wise, these two sounds very similar. Both have what I would consider a laid-back and relaxing treble. With the DaVinci, the cymbals and hi-hats has a bit more aeration, but can sound more splashy at times. Whereas the Neo 5 treble has a darker edge to it, which affects its overall resolution. So soundstage-wise, I think the DaVinci sounds wider and deeper, but with less height than the Neo 5. So yeah, I think the DaVinci is a really great product. With its near all-rounder tonality and quite decent technical performance, along with an abundance of accessories, I think the DaVinci could be the top performer and the most bang for buck IEM for $300. Music library-wise, the DaVinci is compatible with a wide range of music genre, from pop, rock, to R&B, orchestra, or even instrumental music, all of which constitutes most of my library, so it's not surprising that I'm pretty much very satisfied with the DaVinci. So I highly recommend this IEM. That's it for my review, and thank you for watching.